Hey, what's up? What's up? It's Monday. Happy Monday to you, all my peeps out there. Hey, so I'm gonna start dropping some YouTube videos. Focus on a couple things. Diet and fitness being a big priority. It should be a priority in all of our lives. Kind of self-help and relationship stuff, just because that's another thing that's important in our lives. But mainly just go through. Very basic diet in the next video or two, struggles that we deal with in daily life, stuff that maybe is holding you back. So just some FYI, right? So I'm 42, I'll be 43 in May. I was gonna do the first bit of this topless just to illustrate some stuff, but I'll just post a couple pictures and kind of show you where I'm at in my life. But by no means am I doing horrible. Right, I'm again 42 going on 43. For me, in my adult life, I've ranged from as low as 197 pounds to as high as about 260. The 197 was, it was 6 years ago. Lowest weight that I probably ever had in my life prior to high school. I came out of high school at like 220, 225, but like solid athletic. Played soccer, I played basketball. Continued with basketball a little bit in college, weightlifted. So, kept myself in pretty good shape. 260 would have been, like 7 years ago. This, that, the other, working in a job that was a lot of hours, a lot of stress. Not being as careful with my eating habits. We'll go through a couple like real basic things that are issues as just Americans with our diet. But hey, I made it through 4 pregnancies with my wife. Blame it on her. Some sympathy. Binge eating with the pregnant wife. But whatever the case may be, found myself going up. From 36s, which I've worn 36 waist since high school. Back then, I probably could have fit in 34s, but I liked having a little bit more space in the legs and the thighs, so wore 36s. But found myself in 38s. Having to shop, having to go buy some new clothes, having to buy a little bit bigger shirts, belts, that type of thing, and you kind of finally just decide that, all right, well, that's like I'm not gonna just have this. I'm gonna try to do something about it. So. For me, it started with just strictly diet. I had worked in the nutritional industry for a couple years prior to getting in the car business back in 2003, so I had a pretty good foundation, pretty good idea what to do, what not to do. We had done an okay job of kind of eliminating sugars. We haven't done soda. I mean, my wife and I both have been off that for a long time. We don't drink alcohol regularly. So a couple things that we don't have in our life. But, just let stuff slip, start to where you're getting to eat a, quarter of a carton of ice cream at the end of the night and just not eating as well as you should. And, so that was where I started. American diet. 2 huge things that we are really bad at. And that's portion sizes. We go out to eat and they provide us with 2 meals worth of food, and what do you do if you're a respectful person? You eat what's given to you, right? You don't waste it, you don't save it. So that was one of the first things that I noticed when I really started dialing my diet, is when I did go out to eat with my family, you get about halfway through your meal and you're like, man, I'm full. Why did I used to eat all this food, right? So another big one. Beverages when you're eating. It's just a tendency for us, right? They serve us ice cold water. You want to drink a soda, beer, wine, what have you, with your meal. And so a few different things that this is not good for. Digestion. So Andrew Weil, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but he did a whole book about water and water health. And so his big thing with water around meals was that you should drink room temperature water 30 minutes prior to eating. The 30 minutes prior to eating this is actually going to prompt your stomach to produce stomach acid. So you're going to make sure that your body is hydrated, but you're going to actually prompt your body to produce stomach acid, which you're going to need to digest food. So then you go ahead and you eat your meal. You don't have anything with it. The exceptions would be like hot tea. That's what the Asian cultures, they'll consume with their meals is hot tea. Couple things, right? It's hot. So that's the problem with iced drinks, is as you're drinking them while you're eating, you're actually diluting your stomach acid and cooling it down. So now it's struggling and fighting to keep temperature up to body temperature, and you're diluting it, not allowing it to be as strong as it should be to digest your food. So hot tea is something that doesn't hurt either of those. Slightly acidic. You're drinking it hot, so it's not bringing your stomach acid down. So that's an acceptable one. Like room temperature wine. Plenty of studies out there that wine actually, with a little bit of acidity, helps your body actually increase blood flow. Probably not the worst thing to have with your meal. Your European cultures, a lot of them will have like room temperature beer. I don't know that I could say that there's any like healthful benefits to it, but in the big scheme of things, probably not the worst thing that you could do. But we as Americans, we drink iced tea, soda, water. Soda's like the worst because whether you're drinking diet or not, diet's got sweeteners, artificial sweeteners in it that are really not good for your gut and your internal health. The normal soda, the amount of calories and sugar and just trash that you're putting into your body is just horrible. You're just adding hundreds of calories to a meal that's probably already more calories than you should be consuming in just one sitting. So for me, I don't drink anything when I eat. You get strange looks from the servers when they ask you, hey, do you need anything? You're like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't need anything. You want some water? No, like, I'm cool. Like, I'm good. Andrew Weil's thing was room temperature water 30 minutes before you eat. Wait at least an hour after you eat to drink again. Again, the whole idea is to give your body an hour to process what you've put in there before you start drinking water and diluting your stomach acid again. So just something, throw it out there. Use it if you like. If you don't, you don't, whatever. But those two things are kind of just the way that we eat, the way that we consume as Americans, two of the things that I see as just glaring issues. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. We'll talk about the kind of changes that I made, but exercise. You got to exercise. You got to do something for your body, and you have to make a decision, right? Because like some of you are going to look at the pictures that I post and be like, dude, like for 42, like what are you complaining about? And hey, like realistically, I get it. Like we had just gone to the doctor before we went out of town, and I'm like at 222. Honestly, I wish I'd taken some pictures. I just started riding my bike again regularly about 9 weeks ago. Again, my belt was started getting tight, and that's the trigger for me. Like, all right, like if I'm changing a belt, hole, I got to do something. I'm not going to let myself, go again. I don't want to be back to 250, 260. But yeah, I'm not horrible. The 197, that was 6 years ago. I was in my mid 30s. Really was hard on my diet and really riding regularly. I was doing mountain biking pretty regularly. Now I'm doing road bike. But I'm still, sadly, like 30 pounds above, my ideal BMI, my ideal weight, which honestly is a little bit nonsense because it's at 197, I was thin. Maybe I could have lost a few more pounds, but at the same time I was building muscle and exercising, and it's a delicate balance there as far as weight's concerned. But you've got to find a reason to do it. Again, whether it's for you, selfish reasons, you want to live longer, you want to have a more healthy life and lifestyle, going forward. Your family, right? If you're married, do it for your spouse. like for me, like my wife's my sexy lady, like I should be her sexy man, right? So, there's a little bit of it that's on me that I need to, do stuff to keep myself looking good for my, for my partner. And then I've got kids, if you've got kids, like you want to be around, man, like life's too short as it is. So, hopefully you see something that I post and you can help make a change in your lifestyles. But find some reason that you can commit to changing your eating habits, to finding time to exercise. And it doesn't have to be a lot, the more the better. But finding time to do those things because they will help you in other areas of your life. The exercise thing, it's a very healthy outlet for stress and frustration. We deal with a lot of noise, like work. Everybody's got a little bit of stress at work. Life outside of work. I've got 4 kids, so like it's probably honestly as stressful being at home with them as it is being at work, dealing with the people that I work with and the customers. But for me, like cycling is the thing that works for me. I can't run. I just never been into it. I got bad ankles, bad knees, bad back. That's not for me. For some of you, it works. God bless. For me, it is not the way. So like for me, it was cycling. 2015, I think it was, I went out and bought myself a mountain bike. Decent one. At the time I spent like $550, and like to me that seemed like a lot of money. I don't think I'd ever spent more than like $200 on a bike. And any of you that are in the cycling world, like that it probably wasn't a very nice bike for $550. Like for me, it seemed like a real nice ride. But you start getting into that and like realizing that that's really not where it's at, like if you want to have a really nice bike. But that's where I started. Made the commitment to ride. So told myself, hey, if I can do this, if I can ride 3 to 5 times a week, and get that exercise in and become consistent with it, then I can look at buying myself a little bit nicer bike, right? So the bike I bought, it was a Harrow 29er hardtail. Front shock is pretty much junk once you know a little bit about the bikes, but hell, I was riding it on the canals, so it wasn't like I really needed a nicer suspension. But that's how I started, just riding on the canals from home. Started off 5-6 miles, not really tracking it, and then started trying to do the math on like Google Maps of like the route that I was doing, and realized that like, oh God, like I'm only riding for like 25-30 minutes. I'm really not riding that far, really not putting that much stress on myself, right? So started stepping it up and doing 9 miles, 10 miles, 13 miles, 15 miles, and was consistent with that. And the important thing with exercise is you need to do 40-45 minutes of it. So whether you're talking about weightlifting, running, jogging, stair stepper, treadmill, cycling, whatever you choose, that 40 to 45 minutes, that's your trick to getting heart health up, right? And again, that's the selfish reason to do this, is to get your heart healthy and your body healthy, because you want to live as long as you can. You want to be here. You want to be around for the people that enjoy you, that you support and are there for. So that was how I started. At the time, I started really just kind of controlling my meals, doing protein shakes. My go-to has always been Muscle Milk. It's a Cytosport product. I'll post some of these things down in the comments, in the description. But that's always been my go-to because it's like, taste-wise, it's pretty decent. It's low sugar, high protein, and the whole concept with it is good fats. So the idea is it's a lean gainer, so it's not like weight gain where you're taking in 900 to 1,000 calories. It's pretty controlled. You can do it with water, you can do it with milk. Milk makes it a little bit richer. Water, it's a little bit lower calorie, not probably as rich, but at the same time it's still very good. But that was like, for me, that was the one that worked and always has. So I was drinking probably 2 to 3 of those a day, and then having probably 2 small meals, lunch, dinner. Now, the importance of this is don't let yourself get hungry. Don't let yourself get hungry. When you get hungry, you make bad decisions. So for me, it was kind of timing and watching the clock and eating every 2.5 to 3 hours, just consuming every 2.5 to 3 hours. That way, I'm not getting hungry. I'm not making bad decisions. I'm not reaching for the closest thing. And I'm eating smaller meals more frequently. So I'm getting, enough calories, because especially if you're exercising, you need calories, you need protein, you need nutrients to support your activities. But the smaller meals, the not getting hungry and making bad decisions, really kind of helped me change just the lifestyle part of it. That's when I started noticing when we'd go out to eat, and you'd realize how much you were over consuming in the past when you went out and had a good meal at a restaurant with your family. So sensible choices, whether it's a sandwich with turkey and cheese, or I was doing a lot of green chili at the time, green chili pork. So having a green chili burrito. We'd found some low-carb tortillas that are delicious. Honestly, they're as good as regular tortillas. So that kind of helped us keep our carbs down even more. And so it was really just diet and then exercise. And I was getting up and riding at least, like I said, 3 to 5 times a week, doing it in the morning, getting my metabolism going, because that carries through the whole day. It might not work for your schedule. You got to find something that works for your schedule. But I had a gym membership, didn't really use it. Maybe I went to the gym once a month, twice every 2 or 3 months, but I wasn't good about that. But I was riding, doing some push-ups, and my wife drives her nuts, because even this time around 9 weeks ago, start riding, start doing push-ups, and I lost probably 10 pounds like that. It drives her nuts because it's not as easy for her. And women, you'll find that don't get frustrated. Don't let it get you down. Your body lives at a higher body fat percentage. Just the healthy range for a woman is much higher than a man. So your body's going to hold on to it a little bit more. Don't let that get you frustrated. Keep working. Build muscle. Muscle burns calories, right? So hopefully just gave you a little bit of basic information. I'm going to kind of branch off from here and do nutritional stuff. A little bit more maybe diet and exercise. We're working on getting into a gym. My wife's kind of against it because she doesn't necessarily think it's the answer, and she's not wrong. But our 14-year-olds have been griping about getting a gym membership, and I wouldn't mind spending some time with him in the gym and getting in there myself and trying to put on some muscle mass, get my shoulders built back up, get rid of my man boobs and put some pecs back on my body. But a couple important things to point out. Although I'm not really doing that bad, surface level, I'm a train wreck. I've got a hernia that's really horrible. I've been putting it off because the solutions aren't really solutions, and downtime's gonna suck. But I've got to do something about it. It's just getting worse, and just our last trip and traveling was not good for it. I have 2 arthritic vertebrae, 3 discs that are bulging. Super exciting stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, there's bad ankles, bad knees, issues. I got a knee that just pops out. My fibula just pops out and it's loose. It's really kind of exciting, and I can fix it, but at the same time, not perfect. So I've got my own issues, right? I'm not perfect. I've done some things right, and there's some other things that I haven't taken the best care of myself, but I'm trying to do better, right? And that's all I'm saying to you. Try to do better. Take some initiative, take the first steps to making a change in your life and doing something that'll make you feel better, make you healthier and happier. And I'll try to give you some tips along the way, give you some nutritional pointers, and maybe some other stuff that'll help with stress in the rest of your life. So hopefully you catch a few of these, and appreciate you tuning in. Catch you again some other time.